T-Pound.
In a world
Get the hell up!
where Carolina Panthers fans
Anthony from Charlotte, keep motherfucking pounding.
have an insatiable thirst
I need to see a lot more of that shit going forward.
for Panthers news and opinions.
All my C3 brethren from the C3 Legion.
Only one podcast roars ferociously.
The longest running Panthers podcast on the internet.
It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Oh, Greg, I owe y'all $100, man.
You thought that the Kendrick Lamar halftime show caused a little controversy with various peoples on the internet? Well, wait until you hear what Cam Newton had to say about being the number one draft pick. Cam Newton in the news 2 weeks in a row. Boy, my man, Cam Sexual right here. He's broken my heart a couple of times. We're going to break it all down as he said he joined a team of losers. And boy, did he get some flack from some big-time names in the Carolina Panthers legend community. We've got a great show for you guys tonight and post-Super Bowl show as the Philadelphia Eagles beat the mess out of the Kansas City Chiefs. And we're approaching March 12th, 14th. I'll look up the date as we get into the show. Free agency is coming. Bryce Young also chopping it up with John Gruden, telling him why his footwork is not bad. And the old hat has got it wrong. My name's Tony Dunn. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective each and every week. I do it with my wheelman, Cody Lack. Good to be with you, my friend.
Tony Dunn, listen, man. Cam Newton, even though he's no longer on the team, it's like the gift that keeps on giving, man. At least for content creators like us, because, dude, Cam Newton cannot stop putting his foot in his own mouth, saying something to piss everybody off. And Tony, tonight, I'm going to hypothesize that Cam Newton might not have as many friends in those Panther locker rooms than maybe we felt that he did. We're going to recap the Super Bowl. Our division rival has a brand new head coach. So much to talk about. But you know we're going to do it with the best damn Panther fans in all of YouTube, Tony. You already know him and love him. It's our boy, the brand ambassador, DXL Skills, C3 Doug in the building, Panther Pickle, what's up? Dan Floyd, David Screws, Drew with the flu, what's up, man? The Hope Dealer in the building, Kristen Butler, my man D Money, what's up, brother? Tim Estes, Will Horsley, Yonels, and that boy, White Chocolate Espresso. Tony Dunn, ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
The number's 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. Jump in the cat calls. We'll play your call tonight. We want to hear what you think about Cam Newton, the Cam Newton controversy, the reactions from former players like Steve Smith, Charles Johnson. Oh, and the curmudgeonly Jeff Schwartz had to get into it, right? But Trey Boston then in there having some fun. We'll be looking around the league and seeing what's going on. But you know that we got to do it with our homeboy, the voice that makes him moist. CK, good to have you around. Glad you're back, my friend. You're looking great, by the way.
Oh, well, thanks, man. It's been fun. It was nice to get away. I was down at Myrtle Beach for a golf trip. And so, I'm happy to be back, with us being able to talk about the future and not having to continue to, focus on 2024. We can think about 2025 and this offseason officially having started and seeing kind of some of these cards falling, seeing where new coaches are going, seeing what potential free agents are out there. But, of course, everything has to come back to the Carolina Panthers. And the most relevant thing, no matter what people think on the internet, is going to be Cam Newton talking about this Panthers team. And I may have a bit of a different approach here. I don't think that I have mixed results, like mixed ideas about this. I think that the people that are offended have the right to be offended about what Cam Newton said. But I don't think that Cam Newton was necessarily wrong either, right?
Oh.
Here's the thing. I'm not saying everybody was a loser, but we were a 2-win team. And if you were to talk to anybody who's talking about being the number 1 overall draft pick, when Bryce Young came to the Panthers, even though we didn't earn the number 1 overall pick, we had the number 1 overall pick, and we were still not a winning football team. Now, you can talk about how we were 2 years before that, all you want. But what Cam Newton wasn't wrong. I think that he probably, if I had to guess, being somebody who sometimes doesn't articulate things in a way that is most
appropriate, diplomatic.
Hence, oh, there's a female in here. That's surprising. I've never heard a female talk about.
Oh, I forgot that one.
You know what I mean? Dude doesn't necessarily say things that are considered appropriate in those moments, but I don't think he means them in a negative way when he does it. I think he's talking about, like, let's be real about it. Travis Hunter is going to, isn't that Travis Hunter? Yeah, Travis Hunter is going to a team that is not a winning football team. They're not going to have a winning culture, most likely. They're not going to have a lot of great players on the team. And many people would have said that about the 2010 Carolina Panthers. There's not a lot of winners on that team, right? Specifically with a lot of the people that, ended up not making it to 2011 or beyond. But again, I still think everybody who's offended has the right to be offended. I just don't think that Cam Newton is wrong either. I think that it's okay to be somewhere in the middle there, but Cam Newton clearly was the one of the catalysts that moved us into a relevant franchise again after having kind of lost a lot of steam after the Delhomme crash and burn.
Cam Newton opens old wounds with Panthers legends is tonight's show. Guys, we're happy to have you here with us, giving your time, attention, your energy, getting those cat calls, getting the chat. Don't forget to subscribe, smash the thumbs up button. We need your help in the off season as everything slows, but we keep trudging. We keep pounding. Cody, let's jump into tonight's show.
Yeah, man, let's do it. So, Cam Newton, as we already mentioned, the talk of the town. How about before we jump into this, let's hear the words from Cam Newton himself, and let's see what got everyone all pissed off, man, including multiple Panther legends. Let's jump into it. This is Cam Newton on Travis Hunter's pod, talking about the pressures of being the number 1 overall pick.
First pick, I went into a locker room of losers.
How did you handle the pressure of being the top pick?
Let's put it in perspective. You're the top pick because what?
Where you play?
No. You're looking at it from a personal situation. I'm talking about from the professional situation. You're the top pick because that was the worst team in the NFL the year before. For me, I wanted to be the number 1 pick. You could potentially be the first pick, but bro, you have no way of impacting the game like a quarterback does. You can lock down the number 1 receiver. You can make impact plays on offense all you want, but it's still not like a quarterback. My issue is when I was the first pick, I went into a locker room of losers. Guys didn't know how to win. Guys didn't know how to prepare. It was a culture shock for me. The games don't mean a lot to a lot of people in the league like you would expect. It's just money. Not everybody has capabilities to be impact players. They're just players.
All right, man. Have your words from Cam Newton.
You think that was edited?
But I mean, you can go back and listen to the original pod, which I did, and that represented. Yeah, that is the gist of what you said. It's not like it was taken out of context.
Right. It just felt very like a little quick hitter.
Yeah, they're just trying to get it quick with those little shorts or what have you.
Taking away the breath, away the pauses.
Even with that, I think it's important to notate. I mean, like, put into perspective what he stated. He said, I went into a locker room of losers. And he said some guys just were there for a paycheck, essentially, is what he was saying. He wasn't saying every person in that locker room were losers. Like, he knows that he was going to a locker room with Steve Smith. He knows he was going into a locker room with Thomas Davis, who maybe wasn't having his greatest moment of revival yet, but he was going. He knows hindsight that those guys are absolute ballers. And without that defense, that he would have looked a lot worse as a quarterback because our record would have been way worse in a lot of those years that we won. Cam Newton can do a lot, but I think he also is relevant. He can look at things and be a little bit more I think he has the ability to look at hindsight and say that 2015 wouldn't have happened had we not had a dominant defense on top of our offensive performance. It wasn't a one-man show that got us to the Super Bowl.
Cam Newton's comments were not particularly well received by some Panther players that were in that locker room. Starting it off, well, actually, we'll go. I should have put the other one in first because the first one I saw was Steve Smith, right? But we'll go to Jeff Schwartz, Jeff Schwartz
has been very vocal about Cam Newton for a long time. I remember when he was going on Colin Cowherd's show and sort of speaking disparagingly about Cam Newton.
Did he?
Yeah, he's sort of been on this for a while, that Cam is a selfish, only about himself type of player.
He tweeted this: a locker room full of losers who didn't know how to win, who didn't know how to prepare. Oh boy, sure, we went 2-14, but the core of that roster also went 12-4 2 years beforehand. Maybe it's a tad more nuanced than a bunch of losers who can't prepare. Nuanced, yes, right. And to me, as someone who is a Cam Newton apologist and a defender, I was sharpening my Twitter sword. I didn't love the comments, right? I didn't love the Super Bowl MVP comment, where the MVP versus the Super Bowl comments. I understood the what he was trying to get across in some ways, but I can disagree with someone who I love.
Yeah.
He's not diplomatic. He wasn't being diplomatic here. And there are questions about this, is that when Cam Newton came into the league, we know that they were hypercritical of him from the very moment. You remember what's the guy, something King, who writes for interviewed him, and he said he wanted to be an icon more. And he was like, dude, you haven't played it down. So from the very beginning, the towel over the head, the question about how big his ego was, and was it too big? Charles Johnson tweets, a professional calling his teammates losers will never sit well with me. Don't care what no one says. We all battle together. Not one person. It's never one person who will win a game. That's ego talking. And Cody, pull the comment down. I can't see the last part of it. It says, team game, respect the guys, just my opinion like his. All right, let's react to these comments real quick, Cody.
Yeah, man. So, look, this is I don't love this, dude. And I feel like a lot of people don't. I understand what you're saying, and I understand to the point of what CK was saying, too, is that there is truth to that. When you're on the worst team in football, you're going to have the number one overall pick. Like, that's how that works, right? But I think it's, again, Cam not knowing the words to say at the right time to outright call all those players losers. I mean, dude, you're talking about Khalil, you're talking about Steve Smith, you're talking about Jonathan Stewart, D'Angelo Williams. I mean, there were good players on that team, man. Jordan
Gross was still playing.
Jordan Gross.
It's I don't want to be, to me, because I'm not backing Cam on this, right? As in, I'm not going to become a Cam. I'm not a Cam. I still love him. He's still my second favorite player in Panther history, who also is my first favorite player in Panther history, is also disliked by a lot of Panther fans, and Julius Peppers, who was able to, I guess, reestablish his relationship by coming back and really embracing the culture. Cam's still my number 2 guy, and will forever love him. I said last week, Cody, that the more you talk, the more opportunity you have to say something that's put your foot in your mouth, silly, something like that. The next thing, though, and I this may be apologetic in defending Cam, is he really embracing the podcast first like the role of a Colin Cowherd type person or something, to the effect of, is that if he gave a diplomatic answer, if he did this, that doesn't hit on the internet. Think about how much Cam Newton is being talked about right now because of saying it like this. It is more nuanced, certainly. It was disrespectful to guys that pour their hearts and souls into the career. It does show you a self-centered position on a lot of things. My last point on this is I want my quarterback to be like this, though.
Yeah.
Like you need a dog. You don't need a beta. You need an alpha. And while you got the take
the anti-Bryce, the anti-Bryce.
You need a guy who believes in themselves more than anybody.
Yeah.
And Cam, I tell you this, if anything, Cam believes in himself. I can do more burpees than you, Cam. Cody, what did Steve Smith have to say about this? Because there ain't nobody. Now, let's be careful here and giving Smitty I won't say too much, like, oh, he's so great. I mean, I didn't like how some Panther fans were trying to diss on Steve Smith today about like he was pissed about the Ravens.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff too. People saying that Steve Smith was demanding a trade at one point, so he didn't necessarily think that the roster was that great either.
My problem is this: I don't care about any of those things that he said, Cody. I would say this is Steve Smith. You weren't the greatest teammate. You broke fucking Ken Lucas's nose. You're fighting people in team meetings. That would be more problematic than Steve Smith saying something about what Cam said. What did Steve Smith have to say?
Also, to wrap up Charles Johnson, he says, damn, shake my head. Losers is a crazy word.
Yes.
I had my best season. I have multiple Cam stories if we're trying to take it there. And I'll go into this in a minute, Tony. I really feel like Cam Newton does not have as many friends on those Panther rosters that we thought that he did. I even posted a thread.
Were we wrong? It may be.
Possibly so. Listen, I just put out this thread on Twitter. I was sort of wanting to do it all day, but I figured I would just put it out now. I'm sure Panthers Twitter will hate me for it. But I put together a little list of my own little bit of evidence as to why I really think that Panthers players are not so happy with Cam Newton. But we'll get to that in a minute. Let's talk about Steve Smith. Steve Smith responded to it and said, 53-man locker room -1 equals 52 losers. He would then go on to respond, I've watched and listened from afar as you, Cam Newton, talked about the Panthers. None of us are perfect. Yes, we were 2-14 before you blessed us with your presence. The way you have talked about the Panthers lately, I'm very disappointed. I wish you nothing but the very best. I'm done. So there's that. Steve Smith really kind of opened up the whole can of worms here that has Panther fans going back and forth over who's right, who's vindicated in the things that they're saying. I don't know, man. This is open to interpretation, but I have long felt, Tony, that Steve Smith did not fuck with Cam Newton.
Right.
Whatsoever.
We have always wanted to know what that relationship was. It certainly wasn't lovey-dovey, right? It certainly wasn't. Now, I've heard Smitty talk about on his podcast and various outlets as he became an older player having more trouble identifying with younger players, right? As in, like, you're a 20-year-old, 21-year-old coming into the league, you're getting paid, you think you're the bomb, and I'm going home to my family and my kids, right, at that point. So there is I was just never, I won't say upset. Look, I think that's a great point, but it almost is like he forgot that he was that asshole when he was young, in a sense, right? Like, tell me somebody that could have told Steve Smith what to do when he was in the league 3 years after that Super Bowl year. Now, I'm on Smitty's side here, and I won't say if I don't need to take a side necessarily. I just wish I lived in a world today where I didn't hear this.
But, like, can we be honest? Cam Newton is destroying his reputation with Panther fans every story that goes by, day by day.
Going to D'Angelo.
Yeah, dude, I don't understand this. Like, maybe it's because, and listen, if you watch those special forces shows, Cam has said how much of an issue he has not being Superman anymore, not being that guy that's the superstar athlete, to the point where he even says it makes him feel like he's not the same superhero to his kids. So I feel like Cam is still dealing with that. But on top of the fact, now he's online, he's doing his pod, he's on First Take. Now Cam Newton makes his living on saying wild shit and going viral and do the stuff that he's been doing lately.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I understand that might be better for your career of what you're doing now, but day by day, you do more to not only piss off other teammates, but now you're pissing off the fans, dude. And if you have a beef with the Carolina Panthers, not putting up your image all over Bank of America Stadium, dude, that's fine. It's not like it's the fault of the players or the fans that the Panthers haven't treated you correct. In my mind, he could end up walking a very fine line here where Cam could go from one of the most beloved Panthers ever to one of the most maligned in a very short amount of time. And I'm worried that we're watching that happen in real time. And it's really kind of disheartening, man. I hate that we're dealing with this. I hate that we're talking about this. Yeah, man, it sucks. Sucks. I found this on Reddit. The memes are awesome. Yeah.
Why is Kamala behind him?
Is that his? No, that's not Kamala.
It's not?
No.
No, that's one of the housewives or some shit.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't know what to say about this. I'll ask you guys this. And Cody, let's go ahead and go to the calls after this, just because I'm sure people want to talk about it.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I'm gonna put some time.
Do you think? And I'll start with CK then. Do you think Cam Newton walks this back a little? And if he doesn't,
I'm worried that Cam Newton is I'm worried that the reaction of these players will be will cause him to dig his heels in. You know, like when we had the reaction, when everybody else in the world had the reaction to his game changer take, right? He didn't amend it, right? He might have come back and like did some, kind of juking around the subject a little bit, but he dug in. He was like, he ain't a game changer. He's not a game changer. I see a game changer as this. He was talking about like Brock Purdy and Dak Prescott and all that stuff, just being game managers, not game changers.
See, that was football. That was real football talk. This is like.
I agree, but I'm saying that in that moment, the sports world ripped him a new one, right? Because he was saying things that most people actually believed, right? But when that happened, he didn't walk it back. He dug his heels in. I'd be surprised if I would be happy if he decided to come out and apologize and say, I didn't mean it in that way. I didn't say it the right way. Like if he if he was able to come out and do what he did with, Jordan Rodriguez, where, he was able to, walk that back and say, I wasn't trying to be offensive to anybody. It was, a slip of the tongue. It was just a way of me speaking in that moment that maybe wasn't the most articulate. Right. Then I think he's going to gain a lot more respect, but I feel like dude is not going to. I just don't think he's going to come back. He's going to be like, he's going to say, I wasn't wrong. And nobody's really going to be able to prove him as being wrong. Just based on, like, you can talk about name recognition all you want, but Thomas Davis wasn't considered a stud at that point in time. A lot of people were considering Steve Smith on the back end of his career.
The roster was terrible. It was just such a heavy-handed way of what I'm saying? It was just a me perspective.
Yeah.
And you could have said the same thing ultimately, but not have thrown good players and good people completely under the bus for your own sake. CK is here. Two things to come to my mind. Does Cam Newton need money? And as in, like, he needs his pod, his first take life, his second career to bring in attention, or, and it might be both, or it could be none. Is this a person who is accustomed to being in the limelight and is struggling with being in the background now?
I think that, yes. I don't necessarily think money is the biggest driving factor behind this. Obviously, I think that's a pretty big motivation to why he moves, or he does the rounds and all of that. If he wasn't, about the money, if there wasn't money involved, I'm sure he would just be fine fading to blackness here. Just
most of the people in the poll have said that Cam Newton is indeed ruining his legacy. Lots of hard comments in the chat too, from Panther Pickle, Y Big Jordan, Eleanor Jones saying Cam's going to be Dennis Rodman. I
like Dennis Rodman though.
Yeah, but Dennis Rodman now is more seen like a joke than anything. But listen, just recently I threw together this thread, and I've been thinking this for a while, and Tony CK, I've sort of made this known to you guys for a little while, but I've long felt that there has been a real friction between Cam Newton and a lot of the former players on the team. Yeah. And I feel like there's a few different incidents that sort of pinpoint that. First off, when Christian McCaffrey got married, literally every former Panther player was in attendance for Christian McCaffrey and his wedding, to the point where Cam Newton even got upset about it and did a whole segment on it on his 4th and 1
they forgot his number.
Yeah, now here's the deal. Now, Christian McCaffrey later responded underneath it, and there was like, oh, I never had this brand new number. I still had the same one from 2018. But, dude, all those people who know Cam Newton, and you're going to tell me no one had Cam's phone? He even said that he was able to message him on Instagram sometime in that time period. So it's not like they had no way of getting in contact with each other. Now, another thing that we mentioned before, boys, we talked a week or two ago about Ryan Khalil and Blake Griffin owning this new, having the controlling stake in the new Mexican football team. And listen to all of the people that are a part of this same group called Mortal Media that Ryan Khalil owns. You literally have Christian McCaffrey, Julius Peppers, Greg Olsen, Luke Kuechly, Jonathan Stewart, and Sam Darnold over at Cam Newton. And by the way, Cam Newton has his own production company. I always found it weird. Cam is in production. They have their own production thing. Why isn't Cam Newton a part of that whole thing? I don't know. It seems like Sam Darnold is
well, could you ask the same question about Cam? Why isn't Steve Smith?
Yeah, but even still, man, like Steve Smith, even when they went to Germany, remember Cam was upset about that also. Steve Smith still has a very good relationship with Jonathan Stewart and Trey Boston and Julius Peppers. It just doesn't seem like Cam Newton holds that same level of respect amongst his own teammates. And then I put the story about Charles Johnson saying that he had multiple Cam Newton stories. I wonder what those are, I remember the last time we were talking about Cam Newton not having his image all over Bank of America Stadium. Someone put out an article, I forget who it was, but basically saying that Cam Newton had some bridges that he needed to mend inside that organization. And I remember thinking I had no idea what that was pertaining to. But I say all that to say it appears as though, to me, Cam Newton didn't do a great job of mending and minding a lot of those relationships after his time playing with them came to an end. Now, granted, not everyone does, but it seems substantially less so than other members of the team who are still keeping very close contact with one another. And to me, that kind of seems relevant to the situation here, man. So I'm sure there's a mountain of shit that we don't know. We might never know, but this whole thing has sort of shined a spotlight on all of that, and it has us reconsidering a lot of things about Cam Newton, about how good that team was, how good some of those players were. You know, we're looking at all that in retrospect now.
What we know is, or what we're, I mean, I guess, look, is Cam got an ego.
Sure.
Yeah. I think you need to have an ego, though, to be a dog. But what you have to do is you got to go from Steve Smith, the fighter punching teammates in the face, to Steve Smith loving Panthers and the fans, right? When will Cam grow up? Is that what we're asking? Oh, my God. I love you, Cam. I still love you. I still love you. Cody, can we get some calls and some fans on this, please?
Let's do it.
Yeah, we can do that. The number is 252-228-5098. Have your voice heard on the longest running Panthers podcast on the internet. Let's do it.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use
one? And play good defense. Run the ball and play good defense. What's up, boys? It's the Hope Dealer checking in real quick.
Hello, what's up?
You know, it's amazing. Super Bowl is over. Philadelphia Eagles, of course, reign victorious. I'm kind of glad that they knocked off the Chiefs, not against the Chiefs, but how did they do it? They ran the ball and they played good defense. Isn't it amazing? Who does that sound like? Whose model does that sound like? It sounds like the Carolina Panthers model to me. Run the ball and play good defense. It's amazing how Jalen Hurts, watching him, you know, he didn't have tremendous passing numbers in the Super Bowl.
Great point, Young Ellis.
But he did what he had to do, right? I know Saquon was kind of bottled up, but it's amazing. You know, when I look at that Alabama quarterback, I think about what we potentially could have in Bryce Young. I'm not saying that Bryce Young is Jalen Hurts yet, but they both came from that Nick Saban leadership at some point. And I'm just saying that the Carolina Panthers, it seems like we had our best years when we could run the ball and play good defense. Defense still wins championships. And so I just wanted to add that and throw that out there for us, for the C3 Legion. To Tony Dunn, Cody Lack, CK. Hey, man, appreciate y'all and all you do. Keep pounding, brothers.
Keep pounding. CK, you want to go on it first?
Yeah, I think one of the things I loved about this this Super Bowl is a couple of things. Number one, I think that the price of offensive linemen and defensive linemen went up substantially for this offseason coming up. I think we got our tackles, or I'm sorry, we got our guards at perfect time, because last year's numbers are not going to be anywhere close to this year's numbers based on what we just saw from the Eagles. And I think that it shows why a pass rush is so important in this league. That they made Patrick Mahomes look like Bryce Young in year one. Let's be real about it. Like, we can try to mince words, we can try to pretend one way or another, but that defensive line made that offensive line look like absolute garbage, and Patrick Mahomes' numbers reflected outside of a few garbage time touchdowns that he was able to throw. It was absolutely hysterical. And I think it shows a great deal about what that offensive line means, but more importantly, what that defensive line means when you're talking about give Patrick Mahomes all the time in the world, the dude's going to make magic happen. We all know that. They did not. They let that dude continue down. So I think that's more impressive about this Super Bowl more than anything. The run game is important, but it didn't. They had no run game from the Eagles. The Eagles side of the game, things did not have a run game whatsoever. This shows me that offensive line and that defensive line were far more important than we all want to believe it is.
Yeah, and dude, the Chiefs did a great job shutting down the run. I mean, Jalen Hurts was the one who really burned them running, but they did a good job shutting down Saquon. But, dude, when you can have a running threat from the quarterback position and the running back position, dude, this is such a help, in my opinion, to everything that you do on offense. But that defense, look, there's a lot of fans that have been talking about wanting to draft a wide receiver number 1 or, spend big money on offense. If this doesn't tell you, if this Super Bowl wasn't a reflection of how defenses truly do win championships, dude, I don't know what more evidence you need to see. That front four for Philly never gave Patrick Mahomes a chance to catch a breath. Constantly on the back foot, always having to scramble. Yep. And they have it from the interior and the edge. They're not even having to blitz. They're getting home rushing 4 people.
Dude, they didn't blitz. I think it was in the fourth quarter that I heard the commentator say that the Eagles didn't blitz once.
Yeah, they didn't blitz once, and they had they were pressured on 50% of his dropbacks. Right. I think.
I think though, Cody, that it's too easy to say dominant defense win. Like this proves it. What I'm with CK is about the trench. It's about the trenches. And before you get all in a tussy, I'm about to shout you out, Cody, for being right. Or saying that, look, is that the middle is so important.
Yeah.
The middle of both lines wins. Like, yes, having an edge rusher can be dynamic. It can cause some big problems, right? But the Texans hung in against the Chiefs, and they had 2 really good edge rushers. What, Will Jones or whatever, right? And they got
Will Anderson,
yeah. And so they had the edges. And look, the Chiefs' offensive line has not been good all season. In fact, we should give a lot of credit to Mahomes and Andy Reid for finding a way to be 15-1 despite all of those. But what you ran into was a team in the Eagles that had both sides of the trenches that were dominant, right? And while the Chiefs played well against the run, you can't fight turnovers. You can't fight field position. The Eagles had the edges and they had domination up the middle. And what you saw with Patrick Mahomes, despite how great he is, I still think he's the GOAT, is that guy had no chance. Right up the middle. Every time, right up the middle. And so what you need to do, and I think the Panthers could be positioned in a way to build on the Eagles model, which is you fixed the offensive line last year. You got 2 big boys in the middle that are playing well. You refortify that. You reinforce that line in the mid-draft or something like that, mid-rounds. But now it's time to get that dominant front, right? And you do both right there. And I think we can, I won't say skimp, but sometimes we get too fascinated with the skill positions. And boy, them dogs were eaten. And the Eagles were the best team all season long. They were quietly the best team. They were quietly the most dominant team. And they destroyed them mugs. And they destroyed them on both sides of the line.
Tony, did you see the luxury of never having to blitz and just being able to do it? There was a day
I remember 2013. I remember 2013.
That used to be us. That used to be us. We used to be able to get home without having to blitz. We used to be able to drop 7 in the coverage. Man, those were the days, dude. Listen, I already have my draft crush in this year's draft. I think Mason Graham is the guy that the Panthers need to go after. But we're going to be able to get some good defensive players. I really think that we need to get mean and aggressive. Tony, I've told you I don't want no more Boy Scouts. I
Right.
want somebody that's punched the head coach.
As we
before.
just talked shit on Cam Newton for
Yeah,
being
yeah,
not
right.
a Boy Scout. We want dogs, but was the Eagles front a 3-4? I don't think so.
No, that's a 4-3, man. That is indeed a 4-3.
And they owned it. If you get them big dogs up in there on a 4-3, like the 2013 Panthers who had 60 sacks, you can let those boys hunt in the backfield. Mike Mitchell, who was a cast-off from teams, was a dog in that secondary. Why?
Yeah.
Because you had a front four that let him play free instead of him having to be perfect every time. That front four on both sides, I know it's 5 on 4 and stuff, whatever. The fronts, the trenches matter. Cody, let's go to the next call.
Yeah, man. Oh, also, before we go on real quick, there was a fun stat from the Super Bowl. So everybody saw the Cooper DeJean pick 6, right?
Yeah.
The last time there was a pick 6 by a white corner in the Super Bowl.
Jason Strahan.
No, it was Jason Sehorn. With the Seattle Seahawks against the New York Giants.
Who drafted?
Andy
Sehorn was a Giant.
Other way around then. Sehorn was on the Giants, and Reed was on the Seattle Seahawks. So in both Super Bowls, Andy Reid has been on the opposite sideline when a white corner took a pick 6 in the Super Bowl. Dude.
Can we talk about this for 30 seconds? And that is
which part?
The white boy corner thing. And this might send, I hope this don't send the internet into a tailspin. But as we look around the world and we find everybody looking for heroes that can be something, somebody that can look up to something, right? Is remember, and I'm a giant President Obama fan. I love President Obama. So give me but it's like, hey, now we can see that's visualization that you could be that. Is it wrong to feel like that? And first, I'm Italian. I like to think I'm barely white. Italians were not white until 1960.
Corner, damn it!
Can we not say holy shit? I heard on the radio guys were saying, I believe this guy's going to be an all-time Eagles great. Now, little boys, and I'm all right. So I went to my daughter's basketball game, and these kids don't go to the basket no more. Nobody goes to the basket, and I was saying, go to the ball, go to the basket. These are the words I yelled all from the stands over and over. Go to the ball when they're trying to inbound it, and go to the basket. And this guy who was the coach of the boys team, and they were playing next, he turned around. He said, kids won't do it. Steph Curry. They all want to be Steph.
Yeah, man, it changes the way the young kids want to play ball. How about this?
Are there little white boys out there going, I could be
How about this? It's just like after Christian McCaffrey blew up. There's a bunch of little white boys who are like, hey, man, I can fucking play running back now. So, yeah, dude, look, listen, we are in the day and age where no matter what your creed or color, you can play whatever position you want in the NFL, baby. Let's go. Dude, I think it's dude, I don't know if y'all ever watch Caleb Presley on Barstool Sports. He did a Sunday conversation with Tom Brady, and he's like, if you were playing for Kansas City, do you think you would have accidentally thrown the ball to Cooper DeJean, thinking he was one of your receivers?
That's funny.
Yeah, that is funny.
You thought he was, what was it? Who was the two white?
Julian Edelman and
yeah.
And what was the other? Wes Welker.
Oh my God, that's
Chris Hogan.
That's a great show.
All right. I'm gonna play this call and I'm gonna download some more.
All right.
Podcast Nation, how y'all doing? It's G of RCA. Man, what a Super Bowl. And man, what an ass whipping. I loved every fucking second of that Super Bowl, man. And you know what? I had a feeling, I didn't tell anybody, but I had a feeling that the Chiefs were going to lose. Because if we so-called got one of the worst damn defenses in NFL history, it took them a field goal to beat us. Y'all remember, but hey, much respect to the Eagles, but enough of other teams. Let's talk about the goddamn Panthers. Hey, y'all, a couple more months will be draft time. You guys know who I want. You know, I like that damn defensive tackle from damn Michigan. And Mason Graham, I think his name is. Ooh, that would be something. But I think in these next 2 months, we're going to see some shit from damn Oregon. I really do. I really, really, really do. But you know what? I keep hearing about this cornerback from damn Michigan. I forgot his damn name, but
yeah,
I see
Will
his name
something.
keep popping up and how the Panthers are going to pick him up. He's a corner. He's a damn good corner too, you know, but we all know you can be good in college and fucking suck in the NFL, you know, so I forgot his name, but if anything, we're going defense in the first pick, you know, and, you know, Myles Garrett and everything like that. I mean, I would love for him to come to Carolina. I really, really would. And he could make some shit happen, I swear. And before I let y'all go, I have a feeling that they're going to get rid of Clowney. I just have this feeling in my heart that he is fucking done. But give me your thoughts on that, y'all. Keep pounding.
That's your territory, Cody.
Give me a second. I'm trying to find where I downloaded these calls, man.
Look, I don't think the Panthers are gonna get rid of Clowney right now. I don't think they have the luxury of doing that for their roster.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, now when it comes to the draft, what we're talking about is adding a corner. The mission, like, and again, I hate the draft. I let these players come to us, and then I make decisions about them. But if we are thinking about the draft, to me, and look, we weren't 2-14 like we were, and this circles back to Cam Newton, number one pick type thing. But the following year, the Cam Newton effect comes in. We win 4 games. He is incredible, but the Panthers defense was problematic. The roster was bad. In 2012, a second-year coach in Ron Rivera people were calling for him to be fired, right? And the Panthers defense was made up of a bunch of Mod Podge guys off of free agency that weren't that great, you know, and the Dave Gettleman comes in as GM and drafts 2 defensive tackles. One, we get Star Latulele, who was supposed to be a top 3 pick, but he had a cold or something that made people worried about his heart, in that he drops to 11 or 9 or wherever the Panthers were at. We get Star, and then a surprise stunner, Dave Gettleman drafts K'Wan Short, back-to-back defensive tackles. I think this speaks to the trenches. I think it speaks to this. So what I would say is this: if I'm a Panthers fan right now, and you know what? I've been a Panthers fan the entire time. I don't get fixated on these players. I don't get fixated on the skill positions. You can tell me we need a wide receiver, this and that. Yeah, every now and then you draft somebody who is a game changer. But nobody said Justin Jefferson was going to change the Minnesota Vikings team as a whole. Give me them dogs. Give me them dogs up the middle.
Yes, sir.
If the Panthers drafted an offensive lineman in the top 9, I wouldn't even be mad. I mean, I'd be like, oh, I wish we would have got a defensive player because we could use an impact player right now. But you know what? If I'm a GM, CK, I'm like almost drafting an offensive lineman, a defensive lineman, nearly every year in the first 2 rounds.
I mean, at this point in time, it's hard to argue to do that. I mean, what I notice about the Eagles is it feels like they just constantly stack up that defensive line. And that allows their secondary to look elite every single year, regardless of whether it's the 3rd or 4th rounder playing the starting cornerback role in like a guy like Cooper DeJean, right? I think that the trenches are so important. We saw what that means over the past 2 years. We can pretend like having Brian Burns fixed anything for us the year before, but it did not. He was not the dog that you need. You need dogs.
He didn't have no ass, bro. Rest in peace, Joe Riolano. Rest in peace. He used to say Alvin Kamara was Christian McCaffrey with an ass. He would always talk, you want some big-butted, lower body power guys. You want dogs in the trenches. And Brian Burns was a skinny mini.
Yeah. And so I think that the Super Bowl absolutely confirms to me, as it always has. I mean, I think we see this across the board with most Super Bowls. The team with the best defensive line and a good offensive line are the ones that are going to come out on top. And you know, we're just running into a situation now where I think we realize that. I think our front office is going to make a pretty big push this offseason to correct that in the form of a gentleman who just won the Super Bowl and Sweat, and among other people potentially being on the horizon coming to the Panthers to try to turn some things around. But I do think you got to address this in the draft, and you've got to be able to give yourself a long-term look at stability on that defensive line right now.
CK, I just Googled average size for Eagles defensive front. Shout out to my friend Abby Ruth for giving me this fun fact. This is what comes back if you Google that. They're gigantic humans. The Eagles' 5 starting linemen entered the season at an average of 6'6" and 338 pounds, making them the tallest and heaviest offensive. This is offensive line. Oh, that's offensive line.
Yeah, their offensive line is massive, dude.
They got some big boys. And you know what? That Jordan, who's the guy that killed in the race?
Jalen Carter.
Those guys, they ain't messing around. They some big, mean mugs.
They are, dude. They invested a lot on that D line, man. Remember, there's been a few years in a row where they drafted those Georgia players that were winning national championships, dude. Jalen
and they
Carter.
do it again, Cody.
Yeah, they do it again.
They don't just
again.
go one and then go somewhere else. They go right. They double dip, not double dip, but the next year they're like, oh, we got to
Dude, they're going to have that D line on a rookie contract for the next 2 or 3 years. They're fucking cool in it, dude. They're in a great position to be very successful for a long time. And shout out to Howie Roseman. That guy probably is the best GM in the NFL. I mean, but dude, also how great of an idea. You have the best offensive line in the NFL. You just mentioned how tall and how big they are. And then you go and get Saquon Barkley to put behind them. Like, kudos to that guy. You fucking did it the right way, man.
Here, how about this? Don't forget that tonight's show is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. It's basketball season now. Hey, I mean, look, Luka went to the Lakers. Who's the guy? Anthony Davis went to the Mavs. He's hurt for a month already. When your favorite basketball star either gets traded, gets hurt, gets injured, or score some buckets, mugs, we're alley-ooping you into an opportunity to win money from watching sports with Underdog. It's one of the leading sports apps, and you can play now in your state. To play, whether all you got to do is this: pick a player, multiple players, and pick higher or lower with one of their stats: points, assists, rebounds. Don't forget, it is Olympic hockey time now. I'm going to pull it up right now. Oh, Underdog right here. You can go. I saw this. I like Sidney Crosby, 2.5 shots. Hit me with higher on that. They have him at a half a point, either a half a point or a half a goal. I'm taking the shots, baby. 3 shots, give me that. You can play for as little as $1, and if you get everything right, you can win up to 1,000 times of your money. So you can turn $1 into $1,000 in hoops, hockey, whatever sport that is live at that point. Go to Underdog Fantasy, use the promo code C3P, and get up to $1,000 in bonus cash and a free pick. Sign up and deposit for Underdog with a promo code of C3P and get up to $1,000 in bonus cash and get a free pick. I'm going to tell you this. Hold on. That's it. Wait. Here it goes. I got to do it. I got to do it right now.
You want me to do it?
Nope, because I got a new read. Wait. You must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Cody, you know what would be awesome is if the Hope dealer was the next call, but it might not be. The number is 252-228-5098. If you got a problem with the Panthers, if you got a problem with Carolina or Cam Newton, or you just like hanging out with us, call that number. We want no judgment. It's a no judgment zone. Cody, let's play another call.
Hey, it's John B. Jenkins again. I completely.
Oh, hang on.
Hey guys, John B. Jenkins here. Welcome to the off season. Not quite the off season for football, but off season for the NFL. As you guys know, I really enjoy alternative football leagues, and I am planning on sharing a lot of them with you during this off season for our Panthers. Coming up soon, we've got the La Liga de Football Americano Profesional in Mexico. And it looks like Ryan Khalil, Greg Kittle, I think Christian McCaffrey's in on it, maybe even Deebo Samuel, but they got together and bought a new franchise in the LFA. I think it's what's the Monterrey Osos, which might be some sort of bear or something. I don't know. I'm working on my Spanish.
Yeah.
I can't
know what an Oso is. Anyway, there's also the IFL, the Arena or the Indoor Football League. Then there's AF1, which is what the Arena Football League became. And I don't know if you guys have ever ventured into arena ball, but I accidentally happened upon it last year, and it's fun as shit. The IFL does all of their games on YouTube if anybody wants to watch that. I mean, it's football to watch. It's not our brand of football, but it is fun. It's got some fun rules. And then, of course, after that, we've got the UFL, and then there's even the CFL, and my man, P.J. Walker, witness the Walker Wonder, I believe is a backup quarterback for the Calgary Stampeders. He'll be wearing number 5, I believe.
MVP.
And then, let's see, we've got, I guess the NFL will be coming up after that. So, a lot of fun football to watch in our quote-unquote off-season. And I'm raising a beer, toasting you guys. I'm listening in tonight. I don't know if this call will make it early in the show or probably late in the show because it's like 6:55 on a Tuesday. But just wanted to say once again how much I love you guys and appreciate y'all. I love this community. Love being able to tune in every Tuesday with all you guys who are my friends. And that's about it. Just stay tuned for some updates. Oh my God, I forgot the ELF. I can't believe I forgot my Panthers Wroclaw. I knew I was forgetting something, but yeah, the ELF is going to be playing as well. So we got Mexican football, European football, we got indoor football, Canadian football. We got it all, y'all. Anyway, that's about all I got right now. But love you guys, and I'll be talking to you this offseason. As always, keep pounding Carolina Panthers.
No, don't go to the
keep
call.
Pounding Panthers Wroclaw, and keep pounding C3.
I know he's got a second call, but I want to say one thing about he said, I'm working on my Spanish. Rest in peace, my brother, Joe Riolano, the co-founder of the C3 Panthers Podcast, Puerto Rican, right? Roommate, I've known him since I was 16 years old. This guy, my brother, he's got me out of trouble with my parents, the law, all these things. Dope. Like, help me build this podcast. So when I was in college, I'm from Winterville, North Carolina, and I didn't take any foreign language. Like, we didn't even really have the opportunity. They started teaching Spanish in like 7th or 8th grade, but there were limited spots, and it was like a lottery, and I didn't get it, So I am really bad at foreign language, like terrible. And when I went to high school, I took Latin, skipped 52 days of Latin too. Sorry, Miss Waters. You always believed in me. I do love you. So I go to college, and when I'm in college, I had to have 4 years of a language. So I took Spanish because it's supposedly, according to 20-year-old kids smoking weed, the easiest foreign language to learn or whatever. So I took Spanish, and it wasn't natural. My brain, it was too late in my development, I guess, isolate. There's a lot of factors. It doesn't come natural to me. The total American exceptionalism of where we don't give a fuck about other people's languages. Joe, my brother, is my roommate, and advice in life. Puerto Ricans, don't leave your women with them. Puerto Ricans run hot. You think Italian lovers are hot? Puerto Ricans, even one spice level above us. So
I got Dominican friends. They're around up.
Yeah. Joe's dad was spicy.
A dog.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so he was a redheaded Puerto Rican, which is, I don't even know what all this means. So I'm in my year 4, Spanish 4, and I'm just getting by in Spanish 1, 2, and 3. B, C. It's that Spanish 4. I got a D in. It's the only D I think I even made in college, and I just had to get through it. But I was struggling, bro. And I was working in this pizza shop, and he's eating lunch there, and I said, Jose, can you help me? Can you tutor me a little bit? And my man's answer was this. He said, nah, get a Spanish lover. You'll learn more right there. So my advice, the guy's advice, this fucking 60-year-old man, I'm like, hey, can you help me with my Spanish homework? And this man said, nah, just get a woman in bed that speaks Spanish. And you'll be rolling your R's before you know it. I still can't roll my R's. Never got it. Anyway, rest in peace. Love you, Joe Riolano. Jose, love you. Redheaded Puerto Ricans. Girls, be cautious. Let's go to John B. Jenkins' call 2.
Yeah, man. Call 2.
Hey, it's John B. Jenkins again, and I completely forgot what I was calling about. I wanted to talk about the refs in the UFL. Everybody's all upset about the supposed cheating in the NFL, and I just wanted to reiterate what I've been posting on Twitter, that if you've never watched the UFL, the refs are all mic'd up. You can hear what they're saying, and then they check with Team Blandino in the control room about whether the call is right or not. So if you just want to watch true, pure football, give the UFL a chance. You'll get to hear what the refs are saying, get a little insight on how they call games. You hear them say things like, hey, guys, remember, we've got to make sure that this is a 4th and 1 and not a conversion because our family's going to get killed by the mafia. I'm just joking. They don't say that. But I bet the Chiefs refs said that. Anyway, that's about all I got. I just wanted to remind you guys, UFL refs are mic'd up, and all the fun alternative leagues we're going to be enjoying together this offseason. So, yeah, that's about it. As always, guys, keep pounding Carolina Panthers, keep pounding Panthers Frosh and keep pounding C3 Panthers Podcast. Love you guys. John B. Jenkins out.
Keep pounding. Love you, John.
Thank you, John B. We're going to need all of this information. Keep pounding. Cody, can we take some more calls? Because I think some people in the later calls are going to want to talk about Cam Newton.
Yeah, let's do it, man. We got Anthony.
Yo, what's going on, C3? It's Anthony from Charlotte. Hope you boys are having a good Tuesday. Raining pretty hard here in Charlotte. Just wanted to call y'all. Saw the title of the show. And before I get into that part of it, the big question I know that's going to be tonight. Congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles. Howie Roseman has been the general manager of the decade almost, it feels like. I mean, the guy is just a genius. He knows what the hell he's doing. He's laid the foundation of how you build a football team, man. Don't overthink it. draft the players that put the product out in college and get them on your team, man. And that's pretty much all he's done from every standpoint of every position on his team. They were the 30th ranked defense last year, coming off a Super Bowl loss to the Chiefs before. And what did they do? They beefed up the defense in one off season, and now they're the 3rd ranked defense. What they did was they got a new DC, which we didn't do, which I'm still pissed about. But hey, man, I've been getting slack on Twitter and DMs from some people I've been talking to. Not a lot of C3 guys, but some other guys to try to get, feelers out for if I'm talking crazy here. And I've been and I said this on the free for all, I've been standing on this position, man. You can still upgrade the offense and the defense at the same time. There is a blueprint out there, and there is no reason why this team should be bad for another 2 years in a row, man. 3 years, 4 years. Like, at some point, they got to get this shit right, man. Yeah, I'm just running out of patience seeing these general managers just lay the blueprint of how to build a football team, man. It's really not that hard. So congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles. Congratulations to Jalen Hurts, and congratulations to Howie Roseman, and even Nick Sirianni, Saquon Barkley, all those guys, man. Incredible season. But now on to this Cam Newton thing, man. I will not take long on this because I'm just going to be blunt. Listen, the Cam Newton thing, it's pretty obvious. The people that are defending Cam Newton clearly weren't Panthers fans before Cam Newton, and the people that aren't defending Cam Newton are the Panthers fans that were Panthers fans before Cam Newton. Let me just get that out. I don't care if I'm going to get slandered for that. But Cam Newton, him saying that is just a bunch of malarkey, because before we were 2-14, we were 12-4 one season, and we made an NFC championship game. And I just don't think it's in his right mind to – he's been going off the rails, man. I don't know if he's salty about something. Maybe he's like, damn, Bryce Young. I don't know what it is, man, but he's got some personal things to figure out, man. His ego's getting too big, and for him, I know him and Smitty have always had beef, but this is getting out of control, man. This is ultimately why I don't defend Cam Newton anymore. He was a legend for sure. But give me your thoughts, man, on everything I talked about. Anthony from Charlotte.
Keep pounding, brother. Dude, great call. Listen, to add on to it too, look how fast the Houston Texans and the Washington Commanders were able to turn it around in just one offseason, going from the top of the draft to being a playoff team. Like, it doesn't have to be some monumental task to turn around this organization, even though it seems like it does because we're always losing. I do agree it is possible to fix what ails this team in an offseason. We just need to make sure that Dan Morgan has all the resources necessary to be able to do it. And I think that Brent Tillis is working toward that goal. So, anything else I wanted to?
No, I want to talk about the Cam thing. Just 1 second, because it's the first call we got about Cam. I'm sure the next two are going to be about it. What did you think about the Panther fans that came I thought it came hard in the paint about Steve Smith being like, oh, you were salty. I thought I didn't think that the Cam defenders needed to take the route. I'm a Cam apologist, right? I've been defending Cam from day one, moment one, and I still love him. I'm still kind of defending him and like, oh, he might have said, I don't like this. I feel like it's internet culture, guys, to where you just dig in. You just dig in and you say, oh, well, look over here. That person did that. So this is okay. Yeah. And I'm just willing to say I didn't like Cam's comments. What did you think about those people that were, oh, Smitty, you were talking junk when you were cut? What are we talking about that? I don't know if it's the same. Cody, how did you feel about those people that almost, I feel like, immediately just voiced their opinion regardless of the information?
Yeah, and listen, like Anthony sort of hinted on this too. There's sort of a divide between when you became a Panthers fan. So if you've been an OG Day One Panthers fan, you really had a problem with what Cam Newton said.
Yeah.
You know, whereas if
But
you
they didn't like Cam then either.
Yeah,
Those
true.
exact people, they didn't like Cam.
There were many people that didn't like Cam, but to be fair, Tony, a lot of this stuff recently has sort of confirmed some of their initial suspicions of the idea that he's only in it for himself, that, you know, he's a front runner whenever the tide gets rough. He's a sore loser. Everyone remembers the towel over his head. Tony, you and I defended him.
I still defend it. I've not changed my position on that.
Yeah, but I think that if you came to this team because of Cam Newton, like I did, even though it's not the opinion that I hold, you know, you're, I think, more likely to give Cam Newton a pass.
Yeah.
But if you have in any way a reasonable mindset, it doesn't matter when you became a fan. You listen to a player call his former teammates a bunch of losers, and that also is what says to me that he doesn't have great friendships with these dudes. Because if we were on a team together and I was the number 1 overall pick, I wouldn't come in and, you know, years down the road and say, "Oh yeah, before I came to C3, Tony and CK were losers." You know,
Yeah, right.
That's so fucked up.
We were.
Yeah, yeah.
You made us winners.
But dude, it's like if you have a relationship with these guys, you're not gonna just flippantly do that. Which is what makes me think that Cam Newton really doesn't have good relationships with many of these former players that he's played with.
Yeah.
CK, you're a parent, right?
Yeah.
You have kids, and you can love your children. You can love them unconditionally.
Yeah.
But you can also say they're out of line sometimes, right?
Absolutely. And honestly, if you were to just blanket believe that they're not doing anything wrong just because they're the person, you know, it's similar to the, you know, again, I think metaphors are important here, even though they are, you know, still somewhat related. It's similar to a Bryce Young argument, right? The argument, like if you were looking at Bryce Young's first year and you said he never did anything wrong, it was only the offensive line that was the problem. Well, you're not really looking at this as an objective person, right?
Right.
Also,
you're like my
for the other
kid's the
side of it
prettiest
too.
kid ever.
Right. The argument's the other way too, though, right? So if you're looking at Cam's statement and you're just saying, I can't believe I absolutely agree with Cam because Cam can't do anything wrong, then you're part of the issue. But if you're also somebody who's looking at his comments and saying everything he said was absolutely incorrect and, you know, down with Cam, you're looking at it incorrectly as well also.
Right.
You know, it's he can be right and not I think the right part of it is some of the things he said is true. The wrong thing is he said it in the way that he did. And
that's right.
That's where I think we can all agree on that if you're looking at it objectively.
I think this, CK, I agree with you entirely. The thing that kind of off-put me the most about the comments was when he was like, they don't prepare. Right. And it was a sweeping, broad statement about all of the play. And I think he is absolutely right about, look, is that we think that these guys give a shit. No, I won't say give a shit. Obviously, they care. They made it to the league. They're the most elite players in the world.
Yeah.
They care about their craft. But I have a friend that always talks about this, is that the players, he wishes that the players embrace the divisional rivalries more as like the fans do. So it's kind of like the jersey swap. If you jersey swapped with a Falcon player after the game. So imagine if I don't know, Derek, pick a player, JC Horn, jersey swap with a Saints player. And
So-
you know, we want them to have the hate and the vitriol and the history of fans.
Right.
So he is right about that. Is these players? It's a job, and not a job like as in like, oh, I hate to go to work, but they're, you know, what I mean, it to them is it's business. Like you're on a losing team or you're on a winning team. You're doing your job. You're doing your best or whatever. I think the blanket statement about preparation was the problem for me, and it was just like
didn't prepare like a.
And he's a rookie.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and he is a rookie who came out of one of the greatest college seasons ever in the history of football, arguably the greatest. Look, no one has ever questioned Cam's commitment when it comes to his diet, his exercise, like, you know, like all the training, all of those things. But to come in there and say these mugs don't care, that's the problem I had. It was like, oh, they're just taking a paycheck. It was too many broad strokes.
Yeah.
It was good stroke, like right strokes in some way. You got to pull out a finer paintbrush, Cam.
Can I just say, though, that people are retroactively revisiting everything that's ever happened? So Pickle's bringing up Kelvin Benjamin. You know, maybe
stop.
Maybe Kelvin Benjamin got shipped out because he tried to tell Cam Newton to check himself or whatever.
No way. But he might. Do you remember the argument they got into?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. People are revisiting that whole team. White Chocolate says, stop it, Pickle. KB got traded because he was fat. I mean, that's essentially the truth. But also, like, KB.
Oh, look, my big George just said Josh Norman was right. We need a Panther expose.
But we need a former player. We really need to get Trey Boston. We really need to get Trey Boston.
I think Trey Boston would be the most.
Bird loves some Cam Newton.
Yeah, I think Trey Boston would be the most, willing to look at it from both sides of it, because he was on the defense, and a lot of these guys like Charles Johnson are defensive players who are, so I think he could see it from that perspective.
Well, Boston was do we have Trey Boston's comments in the show?
No, but I have them.
Yeah,
he basically was
he took the middle of the road.
Yeah, middle of the road. So I think that that would be a reasonable person to bring on, because it doesn't feel like Trey Boston has any bad blood with Cam Newton based on his his social media interactions with Cam and things like that. So I think Trey Boston would be a really good addition to the show to tell us a little bit about his opinions on what happened. But I think a lot of these players, outside of maybe the likes of Steve Smith or Charles Johnson, are going to kind of stay a million miles away from all of this.
So we got Jeff Schwartz, who played maybe 1 year.
Trey Boston telling Jonathan Stewart what was said.
Because Jonathan Stewart woke up and checked his Twitter and was like, "What the hell's going on?" Right? And what was
this is where it started. So Trey Boston said, "Open up this app and seeing the OGs hot." Then Jonathan Stewart said, "What I missed?" And then that's when
what did he say?
He said one said something not so nice. Few of the OGs ain't take too kind to it. Everyone entitled to their own opinions, they say. Dude, I so badly want to know what Charles Johnson's stories are. I want to know. He was on the team most of that time that Cam was here. I want to know what's, as the kids would say, what's the tea, right?
Do you know why you want to know his stories the most? Do you know why? It's because I know Charles
Johnson's going to tell it truthfully, man.
He was also going to talk about Matt Rule.
Nobody wants to fight Charles Johnson in an alley. So, like, Charles Johnson will say that to Cam's. He will say whatever his version is, which, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's a Panther great. He is a legend. He is committed to the team. He was a Georgia player. You know what I mean? So he's got that Atlanta, like that Georgia blood. But anyway, Charles Johnson is a mug that's on the list of people you never want to meet angry in a dark alley. So I will say this is Charles Johnson will say that shit to Cam's face.
Oh, yeah.
I
Man,
mean, and you know what? Cam would be like, he would be making some business decisions against some Charles Johnson.
I just have to be honest.
That's a big money. You don't play around with no big money.
No, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. And by the way, I saved this comment from YB Jordan. He said, I love Cam growing up. I got older and realized I don't like him as a person. Now, I don't know if I would quite go that far, but hold on. What I will say is this, though. I feel like between the Special Forces show and between Cam Newton putting his foot in his mouth, and just be seeing how he acts on the fly, and even going back to the whole hearing the female run routes thing, and just how depth it was. My whole thing is that Cam has sort of revealed himself a little bit. I think there is truth to the allegations that he's first and foremost in it for himself, and I really don't think that he's ashamed of it. You know, like I think he's a good teammate in terms of getting everyone excited. But I think there are some things in his personal life where he just doesn't necessarily know how to treat people if he doesn't feel like he can get something from them.
Off the Porch Podcast, Derek Lamont.
Shout out my man D Money.
Whispers some prophetic words.
Never meet your heroes.
And we said this in the last show about Cam. It's like the more he talks, the more opportunity you have for mistake. Yeah, he's just talking and talking. But how can we criticize somebody for talking and talking while we're talking and talking on a podcast? Cody, we got another call. Let's stick with them if we do, because I'm sure it's about Cam.
Yeah, we have 5 more, and I haven't checked to see if we have any more downloaded.
Let's keep rolling.
We got more slides too.
Yo, what's going on, C3? It's Anthony from Charlotte. Hope
you heard them.
Hey, listen, just to let you know, I'm just listening to the show, watching the show, and I wanted to make a quick cat call. Y'all know the Panther Pickle. And Tony, that was not edited. That was exactly what Cam said, the way he said it, how he said it. It was not edited at all. You know, Cam Newton, you know, and I think people misunderstand it. Cam Newton didn't say the 2010 season was losers.
The 2011.
He said, I went into a locker room full of losers. That's his exact phrase. Y'all just played it. Listen to it again. I quote, Cam Newton said, I went into a locker room full of losers. Jeremy Shockey, Greg Olson, Thomas Davis, Jordan Gross, Steve Smith, D'Angelo Williams, Jonathan Stewart, Chris Gamble. There was a lot of good players on that list. Now, okay, if you want to say because the record was bad, we were losers, okay, that's fine. Then Cam Newton was a loser most of the time he was here in Carolina because he only had 3 winning seasons. So, therefore, Cam Newton, as many have said, is a loser. Does it hurt? Probably. You know, too bad. Now, everybody has their own opinion. I have my opinion. I'm not going to change my opinion, and everybody doesn't have to change theirs. We just have to learn to accept that it's different opinion. I personally would prefer to talk about the future, not the past, because, you know, these are just old rich guys arguing over something that happened 10 years ago or something, and it's kind of relevant. But anyway, keep pounding.
Is this the call of the night?
Oh, dude, Pickle killed it. And listen,
that's the call of the night. 2011.
Tony, how about this? Pickle just
count the losing seasons Cam was involved in.
But dude, Pickle just hit the sentiment that I'm seeing a ton in the chat. You know, like he really said that very well, Pick.
2011 losing season, rookie, right? 2012 we were again. Ron Rivera is about to be fired, right? I forget what we went. It was we were so excited in 2012. Remember one of the was it Schwartz? I think it was not Jeff Schwartz, the brother. No, Ryan Khalil took out a Super Bowl ad in the Charlotte Observer Like, I mean, he paid his own money, put it on the page.
Yeah.
All right, so 2011 losing season, 2012 losing season, 2013 12-4, 2014 we were 8-1.
No, were we 8-8? I thought we had 7-8-1 because we weren't.
Oh, 7-8-1. So you could say losing season there. So that's what, 3 losing seasons right there.
He technically has a winning record as a quarterback for the Panthers.
What were we in 2016?
That's when we fell back to earth.
Yeah.
We were like, what, 7-8?
Yeah, another losing season.
And then we went the 12-14 after that. Was that the New Orleans three sweep?
Yeah. 2017 was the last time we made the playoffs.
Which is almost 10 years, by the way. Yeah. All right. I'm going to look it up. Panthers. What do you search?
So if you look at his record as a starting quarterback, somebody put it in the chat. I think he was positive, like he has a winning record as the Panthers starting quarterback. But yeah, I mean, if you look at his entirety of his career, if you're just basing it off of how many winning seasons we have, which is relevant because one year we went 15-1, which is going to skew the numbers pretty significantly.
Right. So we go 2011 6-10. 2012 7-9, 2013 12-4. Then we were 7-8, 15-1, 6-10, 11-5, and we haven't had a winning record since. Is the appropriate response from Panther players to say you are a loser, Kim? Oh my God, I've never said that in my life. I love you, Kim.
No, I mean Listen, I think it's fair.
He only had 2 winning seasons.
He didn't only have 2 winning seasons.
What, 3? Was it 3?
It was 3, yeah. But I mean, it was 4 playoff appearances.
12-4, 15-1, 11-5. Where's the third one?
That was, you just told me 3 just now.
That is 1, 2, 3. My bad. All right, let's do another call, Cody, and then let's go through it.
Hey guys, it's the girl that makes them howl, aka Joey the Blind Panther. Cam, the fuck, dude? I mean, are you that starving for? I mean, you must be hard up for child support money or content or whatever. But Cam, come on, man. You're the reason I became a Panthers fan. Full stop. In the first place. You're the reason I became a diehard Panthers fan. Okay? You, Cameron Jarrell Newton, are the reason many people became diehard Panthers fans. I used to get clowned at school because of my diehard Panthers fandom. I still get clowned at work because of my diehard Panthers fandom. And I will never stop being a Panthers fan, no matter what you say, Cam, because you know what? The Panthers are bigger than you. The Panthers have been here, since pretty much the time you were born. And the Panthers will be here for a very long time to come. Matter of fact, you weren't even the first quarterback to get us to a Super Bowl that we would end up losing. Matter of fact, Jake Delhomme did it all the way back in 2004, and he played better than you in that Super Bowl. So, Cam, you done fucked up, man. And as the one you were talking shit about had to say, ice up, son. Ice the fuck up.
Eyes up. Panther fans are
anyway, guys.
Oh, wait.
Wow.
Hey Cody, can you put a poll up for me?
Yeah.
The poll is, are you no longer a Cam Newton fan? Yes. Are you a Cam Newton? Should we say no longer? Yes. No.
Yeah, I got you.
Did these comments
Sway
what
your
yeah, man. Like, I mean, are you done with Cam? Which is wild and bananas to me. You're listening to the C3 Panthers Podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Smash the thumbs up button, subscribe, help us out in the off season by sharing the link on social media. As Cody puts up that poll, we're going to get back to your calls. Keep going. CK, the Bills are hiring former interim head coach Chris Tabor, who was through 2 regimes, I believe, right? Wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a great holdover through those regimes. He ended up being the interim head coach, which is, in my opinion, one of the main reasons why he's not here any longer. Is you can't have that guy step back into special teams, I feel like. But
as
he's
an interim, like he already was an interim, and he survived. He was hired by Matt Rule.
Yeah,
survived with Frank Wright. You can't go 3 times, but the Panthers special teams was the highlight of those losing seasons.
Yeah, I mean, it was that during that time, it was when Sam Franklin became an elite player in all of that. Yeah, so I mean, it's relevant to see him moving on, going back up to the Carolina Bills, and hopefully increasing their chances at making it to the Super Bowl again, and getting the Bills back into the chip because they need to have an opportunity here.
I look like the guy from Home Improvement. Who's over the fence.
My fault. So I put up a poll. The poll I put up: are you still a fan of Cam Newton after his recent comments?
Get in there first.
Oh, it's back and forth too, dude. So the choices are: yeah, I'm done, or no, Cam fan for life.
What would you vote? We need a third option was Cam fan for life, but don't like what he said.
Yeah, but I mean, I am a fan for life. I also just think there are personality traits that he has that I don't love, but I'm sure Cam Newton's still cool to talk to. I'm sure he's a cool dude. I mean, we know that he was giving food to homeless people under bridges in Baltimore one time. I mean, it's not like the dude is a bad person, but I think that now that he no longer has football, he feels like just a man and no longer a superhero. He's just a man.
Those are the words, bro. I think you nailed it right there. Hey, a lot of people have been talking about loading up the Panthers offense and helping out Bryce Young. There's a lot of last week we talked about Cooper Kupp and some potential things like here, but there are some the writing is on the wall for some players. They've been informed. Cooper Kupp has been told he's going to be shopped. The 49ers have granted Deebo Samuel and his agent permission to find a trade partner. Did they do this to Cam at one point? Was like, find a trade.
That was when we hired when we signed Teddy Bridgewater. It was immediately after they granted Cam Newton the permission to go seek a trade.
Thoughts on Deebo Samuel being traded?
So I put this on Twitter. Listen, I'm a fan of Deebo. He's a dog, but that's not the dog that we need in our kennel right now. If we're gonna go out and get a wide receiver, I want a number 1 wide receiver, not like a running back wide receiver hybrid. Like, to me, I'm not shitting on Deebo or even comparing them directly, but I think that Jalen Coker and Xavier Liga have a very similar skill set in what they can do. They're big and strong. They're meant to bounce off of players, get yards after contact. To me, I would want to see something that differentiates a player that is a different style than what we currently have on the team. To me, that isn't Deebo Samuel. By the way, Tony, if you look at how much money he's owed, he's like almost at $29-30 million. So
who eats that? Who eats that? Do the 49ers?
But that's what we were trying to figure out on the free for all last Friday. But unless they're willing to eat some of it, I don't know. That's a steep hit. I know right now is that 29-30 million.
I've always been a underappreciator of Deebo Samuel. And I feel bad about it. You know what I'm saying? Like he could be a dog. You know what I'm saying? But he doesn't have the traits. He's just not tall enough for me.
I'd prefer T. Higgins to Deebo Samuel.
Yeah,
T. Higgins is 6'4", dude.
Yeah,
I think that I think Deebo Samuel would be a carbon copy of what we have in Xavier Leggett. So I think if you're gonna have a guy like Deebo,
shorter.
Yeah,
no, I wouldn't say carbon copy because Leggett has not shown after the catch explosiveness yet.
Well, I mean that's where I think he hasn't been given a lot of opportunity to play out of the backfield like Deebo has as well. So I'd like to see.
Leggett. He's way too big to put in the backfield.
Dude, they put him in the slot all the time. That's where they line up Deebo.
No, not in the backfield.
And you could totally put Leggett in the slot, dude. He's like
he said the backfield, bro. He didn't say the slot.
No, but even the backfield, dude. What was that guy that was
No. Here's the thing: is I thought when we saw Leggett in training camp, we were all goo goo gaga, and I still am. I'm a big fan. I think it's gonna work. Don't worry.
He says Deebo is cheaper. Deebo is not cheaper than T. Higgins. You're gonna have to pay.
This is where I was disappointed. If I had a disappointment with Leggett, it wasn't in the drops this year, guys. I thought that he was going to be mashing DBs and getting yards after the catch. And we just didn't see that. I don't think they're close to the same player. I'm sorry. I think, you know what? I think Deebo is a big-time Curtis Samuel. Like Saquon, or like whatever, like a dog of dog. Like he is big and strong and versatile after the cat. All those things. I think he's like Curtis Samuel with an ass, according to Joey. What do we got next?
Yeah, next up. So this is big news, Tony. We've argued a lot about why the Panthers players are so injured. We know that we've fired some of the personnel staff. Well, we have now made some new hires. Panthers have hired Bill's associate athletic director or athletic trainer, Danny Kellington, who played a major on-field role in saving DeMar Hamlin's life as VP of Player Health and Performance. Kellington worked with Dan Morgan in Buffalo. He replaces head athletic trainer Kevin King and Health and Performance and Nutrition Director Andrew Altoff, both of whom were let go in January. Training, strength and conditioning, nutrition, and sports science departments will report to him. So I'm hoping that this is a change in hopefully the amount of injuries that the Panthers are sustaining during the season. It's been far too much for a long time. I like the hire. I'm hoping that he's the start of something really good for us.
I hope he can revive our health. What do we got? Anything more? We got some more.
Yeah. How about this former offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys? Kellen Moore is now the new head coach of the New Orleans Saints. Sucks to be him, dude. But let me read some of it. So they're going to have a very important decision to make very soon on Derek Carr, which leads me to a little belief that I have. They say after weeks of rumor and speculation, the Saints are hiring Eagles offensive coordinator, Philadelphia Eagles. Clearly things are trending in the right direction for Moore, but he will have a tough decision to make pretty quick with New Orleans. The Saints have the lowest cap space in football, and there have been rumblings around around Derek Carr's future. Will he be back, or will the team decide to go in a different direction? The Saints entered the offseason with roughly $60 million over the cap, and they can't get much relief from quarterback Derek Carr, who has $10 million guaranteed for 2025, with another $30 million scheduled to kick in March 15th. Moving on from Carr would save them only a couple $1 million, meaning he probably will be on the quarterback. He will be quarterback one entering 2025. So happy that the Saints are in a world of hell. They're stuck with an old quarterback. However, I will say this. There's been a lot of rumors that teams really like the Ole Miss quarterback, Jackson Dart. They might even like him over Shedeur Sanders. Don't be surprised if the New Orleans Saints might try to draft a quarterback this year if they have the opportunity to do so. And if a Shedeur Sanders does fall to them, they're picking at number 9. We're picking at number 8. So I really think that they could try to upgrade their quarterback room. It ain't Spencer Rattler. We all know that. And Derek Carr is no longer the answer for them. So, and you have young quarterbacks all in the division with Bryce Young, Michael Penix, Baker Mayfield still playing well. I think the Saints have no choice but to grab a quarterback.
CK, I heard a lot of people in the national, well, not a lot. I turned on the radio when I was driving to work the other day. So I heard like one show, maybe heard it like a secondary source, not a source, but I heard it somewhere else too. And people were saying, F that Saints job.
Yeah.
As a head coach. I've been of the opinion, if you're a coordinator, take the head coach job and fail. You can be a coordinator again. Kellen Moore was fired from the Cowboys and winning the Super Bowl with the Eagles. Was it a mistake by him to leave the Eagles and go to this and take a head coaching job?
I think that I don't know that there's going to be a perfect situation that it can go into. I'm concerned that if I'm him, my concern right now would be the optics of what they're dealing with as an organization, finding out that they were trying to help, provide some damage control while the Catholic. Did you guys talk about this last week?
A little bit, yeah. They're $52 million over the cap, which they're going to get.
Did you hear about the Catholic Church stuff?
Oh, actually, no. I think Cody brought it up.
Yeah, the Saints and a bunch of politicians were helping cover up these pedophilic Catholic.
So you bring in a person that looks underage?
No, that's that's one way of looking at it.
Saying.
My thing would be if I'm Kellen Moore, do you want to go to an organization and try to be rebuilding a team in the midst of that type of potential PR disaster coming out? I know this wasn't necessarily new information; it's just kind of making its rounds again. But this was something that when that was taking place, it was made like people knew about it. It's just now social media in today's world has caught a hold of that and found out what the Saints were dealing with in that moment. But it is odd to me. If I'm
for you,
Moore,
the bigger risk is that than it is being a coordinator going to a team that's in cap hell, that is in a desperate situation.
No, because I think that's a temporary situation. You're coming to a team. You're going to have you're going to have to play this rebuild situation. I think that that is going to be a scenario that most coaches are going to come into. Maybe theirs is a little bit more aggressive, but I don't know that it's any better than the Panthers situation going into last year with us picking up Dave Canales. So. A lot of people could have said the same thing about us in a lot of ways because we didn't have a number one. We didn't have our number one overall pick. We didn't really have a defense. We didn't really have any assets. We had no curb appeal when it comes to wanting to come to the Carolina Panthers for free agents. You're going to have to build from something, and I just don't think that Kellen Moore had the ability to be picky about where he went this year.
Let me see. I think Cody stepped out for a second.
Good deal.
Hold on. How do I get this damn presentation up? See, I'm always relying on this man, the producer. You're listening. How about I do what I do? You're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast. Smash the thumbs up button. Do us a solid. Copy the link. Hit the share. The share is a big deal. Subscribe and thumbs up. Welcome. Your time and attention is always appreciated. But getting the show out to one person that hasn't heard it before, and we've been doing it for over 11 years, really helps us grow, particularly in the slowest time. March 14th, I believe. No, I got it pulled up here. Important dates for the NFL. March 4th, deadline for clubs to designate franchise tag.
Yep.
Negotiation period begins at noon. 10th through 12th in March, 2-day negotiation period for with free agents. 2025 league year and free agency starts on March 12th. So on March 10th, you get that like tampering thing.
Yeah, the tampering period. Yep.
We have exactly 1 month before we're talking about the Panthers signing free agents, right? So we'll be watching what the league does around that time and heading into it. I don't know if I love the 2-day period, CK, right. Because like before we just used to get this news broke that like it used to be like somebody was like, oh, this person's signing. Now there's 2-day period where it's like okay to break fake news or it's okay to like leak it out. I don't know what that 2-day period is. I don't understand it. The Carolina Panthers are going to have to do some things in free agency, and I expect to see a lot of moves made on defense. Let me see. How do I get this mug up? Oh,
no, there we go. We're just not going to be there.
Yeah, and that's better for the audience.
Yeah,
I saw this is power rankings for the NFL, and the Carolina Panthers were listed at 24. I don't really have a problem with the 24. But there were 2 teams. Let me see if I can. The Atlanta Falcons were like 16, bro.
That's so funny to me, dude. That is so funny. We just made them look, horrible on a national stage at the end of the year.
Why? Why would they be listed? They have less sacks than us.
They have less sacks. You can argue that they have more weapons on offense, which is a reasonable statement. But at the same time, I mean, I really don't know where you would put them outside of maybe their, the overall defense situation they're dealing with is significantly better than ours. But I don't think it's not me arguing that we should be higher because, let's be real about it. Our record is still not great. But it's certainly that the Falcons should be significantly lower than that.
I'm trying to see, where did I find this? Maybe it was
looks like ESPN.
Was it ESPN? Anyway, all I would say is this: is fuck the Falcons. Fuck you, traitorous bitches that wear Falcons jerseys after being, you know what? How are the Falcons ahead of us? I mean, at least they should be neck and neck. I get what they win another game, one more game.
Well,
I don't know. I'm not feeling it.
We only have a couple more calls. You want to just finish them?
Please, let's go.
What up, fam out there, man? This Drew with the flu, man. That
what up,
man
Drew?
Sick with it all the time. Hey, listen, man. I hope everybody having a great night. And I definitely wanted to talk about Cam, man. Let's be honest, man. I mean, he was the number 1 pick in the draft because we were losing. We were, 2-14 that year? So he did technically walk into a locker room of losers, man.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying everybody was a loser at heart. But what makes you a winner?
because you go to practice every day, you practice well, you show up with the team. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't make you a winner, man. What makes you a winner is what you do on the field on Sunday. That makes you winners. And man, we wasn't winning. So technically, we were losers. Now, granted, we did have dogs in the locker room, man. We had some dogs in there. Cam never said everybody in the locker room was a loser. You know what I'm saying? He said he walked into a locker room full of losers. Okay, so now he comes a dog in Cam, right? Okay, you put a dog in a kennel with a few other dogs that was in there. There might have been 10 or 11 more dogs in there when Cam came into the kennel. Okay, so now you got about 11 to 12 dogs in there. But guess what? When you put real dogs around other dogs, it brings out the dog in everybody. And it makes you hungry, man. It makes you want to go out there and fight every Sunday and win games, man, and learn how to win as a team.
Mm-hmm.
Like he changed the whole culture in Carolina, man. I mean, we had players dancing for the first time, smiling for the first time. You know what I mean? Like, man, Cam can't destroy himself, man, with his mouth, man. And I understand what you guys are saying. It's the way he's saying it. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
To be honest, man, like, we were losers. But, I mean, Cam just has to figure out a better way to say it. So I want to go into another point, man. I want to know how you guys feel about, and it's been floating around, about the trade rumors with Deebo Samuel, man. I know I always said that we need a speedy wide receiver. But, man, I wouldn't mind getting Deebo. I think he'll be great for us, man. He's powerful.
I don't know if he had another call, though.
Well, we talked about Deebo a little bit, but we
do have another one.
From the same number?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, man. It's Drew with the flu again. My head got cut off. I guess I was taking too long. But, yeah, man.
It's all right. Cam does that.
Deebo at running back. Man, you could put him in the slot. Man, you could put Deebo all over the field. Punt return, kickoff return, wherever, man. And guess what? He's a dog, too. So, yeah, what do you guys think about that? All right, man. Love you guys. Keep pounding.
Appreciate you, brother. Hey, like I said, man, I wouldn't hate it. Like, I'm not going to be pissed.
Would it make the Panthers better?
It would. It's just not my preferred method of doing so, man.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think the Deebo method is the dude. The Deebo Samuel is the dude for this team right now. I wouldn't complain, but the cap hit and the skill set, I just want a different type of number one wide receiver. But like I said, I'm not going to complain and bitch and moan if they do. You know, like I'm fine with that. T. Higgins right now. Well, Garrett Wilson would probably be my first choice, but you're having to give up the 8th overall pick for Garrett Wilson. To me, there's
I guess the new news about Aaron Rodgers, it sounds like that. I don't know if it's going to happen.
Yeah, now they have no incentive to trade him. Yeah.
I like the take, about the dog and Cam. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, you do have to, yeah.
I mean, you got to get some alphas around, and they're going to fight it out. They're going to pee on each other. They're going to bite at each other. So, I mean, I want a guy at quarterback that's like Cam, not like Jimmy Clausen. Jimmy Clausen was a beta. He didn't know what to do. I can't throw more than 5 yards. I want a mug that's not scared to lose or not fearful at all.
Yep.
Cody, let's go to the next call.
Let's do it.
Yo, what's going on, my C3 family?
D Money.
From North Carolina, the great Tony Dunn, the homie Cody LIX, CK Code Dizzle, Diesel Skills, the whole Legion, the whole family. I just wanted to chime in on Cam because Cam getting paid a lot of money to talk. Alright. I wish I got paid a lot of money to talk. But unfortunately, at this present time, I don't. Okay. I just need Cam to stop talking. Like, talk enough to get a bag and then just shut up. Okay? Because, see, this is what I call the ugly baby syndrome. Now, some people say there's no such thing as an ugly baby. But let's be quite honest. There are some ugly babies. But you don't tell the parents that it's an ugly baby. You will crush someone to tell them that they had an ugly baby. Well, Cam just for some reason decided to tell us that we got an ugly baby. Now, mind you, he didn't lie really about what he said. It was all about how he delivered it. So, yeah, I don't care for it. He shouldn't have called the baby ugly. I mean, we all make mistakes. But I just need Cam to stop talking. Just talk long enough to get the bag, and then stop talking. I love every single one of you. And if you ain't with us now, you ain't welcome to the parade. Keep pounding.
Great
Don't
call.
tell me I got an ugly baby, damn it. Don't tell me that.
I always say this is you don't tell, like, people like, I never lie. I never lie. Well, you don't tell grandma when she makes dinner that the chicken is dry. You just eat the chicken and you say, I love you,
Yeah,
grandma.
you say it's wonderful.
And by the way, all infants are ugly. Every infant is ugly. I'm sorry. I remember my first kid. By the way, happy birthday to my son, Michael Dunn. Turned 17.
Hey, happy birthday.
17 today. But I remember when
Almost 3. I'm just kidding.
He came out as a little baby, and I was like, oh, look at this. He's the most beautiful baby in the whole
You
world.
look back on those pictures, he's the ugliest baby you've ever
They
seen.
all look like old angry men. Every
Dude,
infant looks like an old angry man. And you're
I
like,
do that with my
my
son.
pretty baby.
I do that with my son all the time. I look back at his baby pictures and I'm like, well, I thought this kid was the cutest baby on the planet.
You're
when
like,
he was a baby.
you have a Gerber baby fucking commercial and shit. And you're like, wait a second. All right.
This is
Last
damn
one?
how we're busted. 2 more.
All right, let's go.
Yo, what's going on, my C3 family? D, South North Carolina, the great Tony Dunn.
Right?
I must have been. It must have been a duplicate.
No, man. I might be wrong.
But yeah,
What's
listen
up,
to
y'all? It's Lucas from Far City.
What's up, Luke?
Just want to talk a little bit about the Cam situation. Cam was crying about how he didn't get invited to Germany. Well, comments like this are why you don't get invited, brother. I will always respect Cam as the quarterback for the Panthers. But lately, man, as I get older and as he becomes the sports analysis and makes these comments about the Panthers and rather having the MVP, man, it's just it's making it's tarnishing his legacy, and I hate that. Yeah, I really hate that. Keep pounding. Go Panthers.
I'll tell you what it's mainly doing to me is it's making it harder to defend, right? Like you're getting, like there's going to be a moment of no return where it's going to be D'Angelo Williams level of exodus from, his ability to maintain a legacy with Panthers fans, right? People are hesitating on talking about D'Angelo Williams in any great conversation about Panthers in history of the Panthers team. Because of how he handled his, those few years where he was just doing everything he can to screw over the opinion of the Panthers, right? And Cam Newton's on that verge. I still don't. Again, I prefer to give him the benefit of the doubt and believe that the things he's saying are just poorly articulated, more so than his honest opinion about the situation. But I also am somebody who subscribes to the idea of when people show you who they are, believe them. And I want to fully, support what Cam Newton has done for this team. But I also want to issue my hope that he remains aware of the appearance, the words that he's saying, and that he is able to come out and apologize for it. Right now, it's just an absolute bloodbath. He's doing no favors for his legacy. And I agree with the caller. I think there's a lot of people out there who are going to jump off the bandwagon of defending Cam Newton. I can't tell you, even today, how many people will talk about Cam Newton. And I'm like, dude, you guys don't even know who Cam Newton is. Like, oh, he's a cocky guy. He's just the, I'm like, dude, he did so much for the community. There's not much difference between him and your defensive players on your team. I don't know what you believe that he should be a different type of human being because of a position in football that he plays. It's just not realistic to expect that. But now it's just going to be harder for me to be able to make those arguments given these types of comments.
I like the D'Angelo comparison in some ways, but where I think it's different, CK, is D'Angelo wasn't disliked by Panther fans initially, or period. Like, he wasn't a controversial player. He was, the only thing that was controversial is we paid 2 running backs at the same time, but he broke big. He was a good player. I didn't remember him saying anything, but towards like the end, he became divisive.
Yeah.
Like in the aftermath. The difference with Cam is that like there was that air all the time from the beginning where people didn't like him. We had me, like myself, who will go to war for Cam. But what I think you're keying in on, and I think it's an important point, it's harder for us to say Cam was misunderstood.
Yeah.
Now, like that was the thing. It's like, oh, y'all don't get it. This guy he hates losing. Y'all don't get it. He's searching, and he really was at time. I mean, he didn't throw people under the bus, but the more and more this happens, CK, the harder it is for us to say he was misunderstood.
Yeah.
Yeah. You wear out. You don't get so many of those before they don't.
And then we're like, oh, we understand.
Yeah. It's like, all right.
All right. Please say this.
That was the last call.
Okay. No, this is my ice up pick. So hold on. All right. We already did that. Yeah, we're done. Those are my ice up picks. I just put them in the show so I didn't have to pull them up. And I got some reels too. You're listening to the longest running Panthers podcast around. We are heading into our 12th season, folks. Think about that. Every week we're here, multiple times a week, triple times in the season. And if y'all give us a winning Panthers team, bro, we'll be here in your ears all day, every day. Cam Newton, we love you. I think you're misunderstood. Stop talking, Cody, let's ice some fools up. Longest running segment on the longest running Panthers podcast. Literally.
Let's do it. Toughen up. Get your act together. Time to ice some fools up.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
It's our time to ice some fools up. It is our homage to Steve Smith, who should be a Hall of Famer, by the way. Same stats as Andre Johnson. Put that mug in the Hall of Fame. Luke Kuechly, Hall of Famer. You know it, baby. Cody, let's tell some fools to ice up, toughen up, to get it together. I got a few tonight.
Yeah, I had 3, but I'm almost entirely certain that the first one is a fake. We're always trying to determine if they're fake.
Oh, yeah, the best.
The 2 I have are very real, and they involve 2 very outspoken former Major League Baseball pitchers. One, the legendary John Rocker, against none other than Patrick Mahomes Sr. They got into an altercation in New Orleans for the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes Sr. in red, and you said John Walker.
Is that Rocker the big guy?
Yeah.
Oh, he's still got it.
Oh shit!
He's big time still, bro.
By the
What
way,
were they arguing about,
I
Cody?
don't even know, dude. Listen, not only do I not know, but then they went on.
He said,
Dude, look. So then they went on a tweet spree against each other. Oh, what the fuck?
Oh.
I don't know what the
Well, you
fuck
said
that
that was porn.
No.
I said it was some big black dude.
No. So look, Patrick Mahomes Sr. or no, John Rocker goes, fuck Patrick Mahomes. And then Sr. comes back and is like, John Rocker is a menace to society. So I don't know what they were beefing about. I don't know if it was something that they did, like a prior beef that they had when they were playing ball. I'm not sure, but they apparently really hate each other, and I don't know what started. Y'all know they're so eastbound and down.
I don't know. I like. We'll leave it with Yonelis's comment. He said, "Roid rage."
Roid rage. Yeah. Well, the
Yeah,
dude,
Rocker
had did another tweet that said, "Dude doesn't know how to take a joke." So it tells me that maybe he said something that was quite offensive to Patrick Mahomes.
Out of line.
Out of line. Yeah. He was clearly drunk. So I don't necessarily think that Rocker is necessarily in the right here.
Yeah, I think we should ice him up.
Yeah, I think he's the one to be iced up here because he was clearly coming up. This is probably after the loss. You're probably saying something absolutely inappropriate about his son losing the Super Bowl, things like that. I think that I think it's fair to say Rocker was the one in the wrong here.
All right, download my bastard son's call real quick.
Yeah, I'm doing.
All right, here I'm gonna do my first ice up. I got a couple of fun ones. This one just made me giggle when you get in the comments right here. I had no idea what this was. I'm sitting there. I'm gonna move myself up to the top just so you can see me. So I saw this tweet and it had like a bazillion retweets and stuff like this, and it says, "So I'm cleaning my girl car out and I find this under the passenger seat. Tell me I ain't tripping." And I'm sitting there looking at this. I'm like, what? And then you get in the comments and it's all about how it's the corner to a condom wrapper. People are trying to match it to Lifestyle, to Trojan. Then people are like, oh, it's Haribo, gummy bears, all of this stuff. Thank you, internet. Ice up if you're pulling I guess this guy cleaned up the teeth potentially of somebody that smashed. Yuck. Ice up to that. I got another quick one before I get to my stupid reels. I hate all politics right now because the internet skews everything. I read this. I watched this stupid ass. I'm gonna say stupid ass man. I watched Elon Musk talk today for 9 minutes beside Donald Trump. And Donald Trump definitely looked like he was like, why are you not looking at me? Why am I not the star? He was irritated, even though he agreed with what Elon was saying. The headline to what I read sucked. And I watched this whole stupid video and it had nothing to do with the headline that these mugs were spewing. But I like this, and I don't like this. Elon he's wearing a hat up in the Oval Office. Like he was like, this is ridiculous. And his kid's picking his nose. Ice up to your kid picking your nose. What the hell is Elon wearing? This get up, bro. Good God. Somebody get him a stylist. Ice up Elon's boogery kid.
You can tell that he was pissed that the kid was in there too. Like
No, he wasn't. He didn't give a shit. He's got autism, bro. He's
no, not Elon
Come on,
Trump.
man.
I'm talking about Trump. Trump looked like
Oh, okay.
he was sort of annoyed at the whole thing. But all right, so I have another ice up. I literally just found this. Dude, if you're riding a horse, be careful for road signs, man.
Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. I see it coming.
Oh, I don't even know how he didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
Like, why did he
Oh,
lean?
so look, he leans over to the right and then just gets bang. Oh,
Ice up. He's gonna need to. All right. This one, CK, you got one, or we just
I'll tell you, what I was gonna say. I have two, and they're all having to do with the same thing. I know people are gonna have their own opinion about this, but I would like to ice up the Super Bowl halftime show. Not everybody's gonna share this opinion, fully aware of it. I know there's messages involved and all of that, but I'll be honest with you. I don't watch Super Bowl halftime show to watch a message. You know what I mean? I want to watch entertainment. I want to watch fun. So I thought that halftime show was one of the most boring halftime shows I've ever experienced. And this is somebody who is a Kendrick Lamar enjoyer, right? I enjoy his music, all of that. So I'm icing up that, but I'm also icing up the fact that Drake had set through that and watch this dude just tear him apart with his it's similar. It's all the same raps that he released earlier this year or last year rather, but I'm just icing up those two situations just because I think they're relevant after having watched that Sunday, feeling completely disappointed by what we experienced with that Super Bowl halftime show.
Yeah, it's I don't know what to think. I told y'all it was too nichey. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It wasn't. It's just not enough.
It's
my daughter loved it.
Yeah, you shouldn't have a Super Bowl halftime show that 25% of the people watching it are going to enjoy. It should be something that you're trying to at least get the majority of people to, find some joy behind it. You're never going to please 100% of the people.
Right.
And I'm fully aware I may have, when I said I didn't like it when it first happened, I was fully aware I may have been in the minority of people that did not enjoy it. But from what I've seen and the fact that there is there was a tremendous amount of people agreeing with me, then it's, I think that there's a lot of, it seems like the majority of people did not enjoy it. And that's just,
I don't know. I actually thought the performance was great though.
I did. They say it's the highest rated halftime show ever. I'm a Kendrick Lamar super fan. Here's the thing, dude, rap music is laden with profanity. He's having to censor every other word that he's saying. It's like he's not even rapping the lyrics to the song because he has to change them so much. I enjoyed it. I thought the entire performance of it all was great. I understand.
Yeah, I thought the actual performance was great.
Yeah, the physicality
of it was too nichey. It just doesn't.
I do hope that this opens the door for other types of genres to be accessible to the halftime show.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This one, I don't know if I'll just let you say it. I don't know what to ice up on this one.
And they've never stopped.
Dale has been unable to work since the accident and is mostly housebound through fear of experiencing an episode in public, but he enjoys playing frisbee golf with his closest friends.
Oh, God.
I know what this is. Do you know what
happen
it is?
at all times in any situation. They happen when I'm awake. They happen when I'm asleep. They happen in the shower. And on the way there, I had my first 5 orgasms, and they've never stopped.
I don't know what to ice up. I mean, like, I feel like this is that, like, I feel like this is a curse. It's like,
yeah, dude, you're not having fun If you're
It's
going
like
to
you only can eat ice cream your whole life, or
if you're
something.
going to a funeral and you're busting nuts, dude. Yeah, that's yeah, that's
I don't know what to ice up, but bro, he's gonna have to ice his balls up, bro.
you hug your aunt you haven't seen in 3 years. Yeah,
You're
that's
like, I watched Schindler's List and I came in my pants.
oh god, yeah, that's
What?
yeah, man. That's
All right.
that's actually old. I saw that in the TLC documentary years ago.
Let me see. Play my
Oh yeah, Kev's call.
Hey, it's White Chocolate Espresso. Let me talk on this Cam thing real fast before y'all go off. Yeah, I think he will apologize. I think next time he's on his pod, he will say, listen, I didn't mean it like that, or I was telling it from my rookie's perspective going in to that team. I think he said that before going in. Because y'all got to remember one thing about Cam. He's never lost. Before coming to the Panthers, he's never lost a football game. Ever. Never lost a football game. High school, college. And now he's going to a team that only won 2 games. Worst in the NFL. You know? And also, Cam's first game and second game, what did he do? Like 400 yards in both games. And guess what happened in those games? They lost. Because the defense was trash. I'm looking up right now. The Panthers gave up the 6th most points in the NFL that year, Cam's rookie year. They also gave up the 5th most yards that year. So, I mean, when he says losers on the team, I mean, they weren't good players. And you bring up, Charles Johnson, you bring up Chris Campbell, and all the other ones. But at the end of the day, it wasn't a good defense at all. Now, I think, I could be wrong. What he was meant to say was like going in, I was like, man, I'm joining this team full of losers, that thing. Like, in his mind as a rookie. But, whatever, that's up to him to come out and talk about. But I will say, people come, Cam's ruined this thing for me. Shut up. That 2015 year was the greatest year as a Panther fan. And nothing Cam can say will wipe that away from me. Every time I see him, I'm thinking about that 2015 year. No matter what he says, 2015, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. People brought D. Will. I love D'Angelo Williams. And quite frankly, I think we kept the wrong running back, to be honest, because Jonathan Stewart got hurt in that Super Bowl. But let's beyond that. Like Steve Smith, they all trashed the Panthers. They did it after they got cut. It is what it is, whatever. Trashing teammates' ass, but whatever. I'm sure he will bring it up in the pod. But nah, Cam, my boy. 2015, greatest year to be a football fan, Panther fan. Period. Peace.
Cody, we got another call that came in. Download that. We'll get it. We'll squeeze it in as I do this. This is ridiculous. By the way, I'm so old. I just am starting to watch which I hate because you'll be like, oh, this is way too funny. No wonder the kids are addicted to this crap. This is wild. It says, me, don't invite Mike. He always gets too wasted. This is bananas. This kid did a backflip and then his head busted into the fishbowl. Ridiculous. And I have one more. Let me see. I'm going to pull it up as Cody is getting that call. Oh, this is hilarious. And it's probably an old clip, like COVID clip. You know what I'm saying? And sorry, I'm a geriatric if you're watching. Let's see if this is it. This is a classroom, like an online class. And his friends, I don't know if it's his friends.
It has to be. I think it was a prank.
Kidnapped?
But they kidnapped him while he was in this online class. I love the creativity. My students don't suck, students. Anyway, y'all so creative when it comes to damn TikToks and shit, but you can't be creative in like writing a paper.
All right, last 2 calls and we'll get out of here.
Oh man, you know what it is? It's C3, what's up, my niggas? How you guys doing? It's been a minute. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. I had to go to Disney prison because I wasn't eating out so fast, so she stole my mac and cheese. But anyway, yeah, fuck Cam Newton, fucking bastard. You fucking LeBron James with a fucking helmet on. Oh, fuck him. He don't talk shit about Steve Smith like that. Oh, Mighty Mouse. You know what? He's nuts in his mouth now, since he want to be disrespectful about the Carolina Panthers. Oh, he kiss our ass. And that's why he'll never be saying, and that's why his sidekick name's Peggy, which I found that kind of diabolical. Yeah. But
all right. Shout out to
Kev is completely right. Outcast would be that's the one.
Yeah, Outcast.
Oh, and they got a dome too. They could put the Super Bowl in Atlanta.
Yeah. We got one more.
And that is a rap group that crosses generational lines, age lines, like hits and pops. I'm not saying I liked it, but I felt old watching Kendrick. My daughter was all about it. I liked it. I mean, I didn't dislike it. I thought the performance was good, but you need someone that appeals to different demographics. It just made me feel old. Ice up to me for feeling old. What's next, Cody? Last fucking call.
I don't want to see my homie go out like that. Oh, yeah, my God. That definitely looks like
that's the same one, right?
No. Oh, man.
We can't get Mickey too
want to call no, I can't do that. Might want to call Jerry Spring. Oh, I can't do that either. They are RP. You know what? Mickey can find out. I just had to get on mini so fast for goddamn leaving motherfucking condom wrappers under the fucking Disney mobile. But I'm out. Whoop.
He said he had to get off mini?
Yeah, he was talking about your condom wrappers in the car that your ice up pick. He was talking about finding minis, finding the wrappers that mini be leaving in there.
Oh my goodness. All right. That's the C3 Panthers podcast, ending with a cringe moment, according to Kristen Butler. You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong, girl. My name's Tony Dunn. Look to my left, my right. I don't know what y'all on y'all screen. He's to my right on my screen. CK, my man, the eternal optimist. Cody Leck, the guy that keeps us all together. It's been fun. Thank you guys for your time on the panel. Thank you for the people that listened and hung out with us. Thank you for your calls. Cody, take us out of here. We'll be back Tuesday, Friday, and in between. Let's go.
C3 Legion. Keep pounding.